Hey, what's up? It's Rick on the Rocks and Dad, Fantasy Football Extravaganza, Week 7. Because when you're dealing with 7, you're in heaven. Not particularly.
Nice.
But, yeah, it was good, wasn't it? Nice
That was terrific.
We missed last week because I was in the middle of the ocean on a ship. But we have recuperated, done some research, and we're ready to talk about Week 7. Lots and lots of things are going on.
Lots.
Dad, I'm going to pass it on to you. What do you have going on right now?
Well, I've got a few interesting things concerning injuries. Week 6 was another big week of injuries, and moments ago,
just moments ago.
Yes, that's true. Moments ago, I was made aware of the fact that now the Indianapolis Colts have shut Andrew Luck down again, even though he looked great on the sidelines again this week. So please, any of you that are holding on
was
to
he
him
dressed nice?
In hopes that he's coming back.
Did he have a jacket and coat on?
No. He was dressed in his usual sweats. Also, of course, since we last met, Aaron Rodgers is out for the season.
Done.
Odell Beckham is out for the season.
Done.
Several others are out for the season. Even though he's not relevant for fantasy, J.J. Watt, the everything defender and Houston Texans, is out for another season. So it's the injuries are really catching up, and
throw it all on the pile right here.
That's where you have to be really on top of things if you're going to be a good fantasy player. In just a little bit, I'm going to go over some quarterback options, some
which there aren't that many.
Well, that's where you have to be inventive, and I'm going to share with you a few of the maybe ad drops, possibly some ones that you might want to look into picking up this week, and most of this stuff is week to week, and that's just the way it is. So anyway, we've had some interesting results. We got some teams. Rick and I at the start of this selected Green Bay and Oakland as our Super Bowl teams, as did just about everybody else, and I don't think that's happening. Derek Carr, although he missed only one game, came back and played. He has I believe a bad back, the quarterback for Oakland. Marcus Mariota, the quarterback for Tennessee. Well, he played this past week and played fairly well, but he's got injury issues. And so it's getting thin in the quarterback rank. That's why I'm going to go over some quarterback options with you today. I've also got the conclusion of Storytime, well, at least this
The Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
Storytime?
I'm wrapping up the Wizard of Oz this week, and then next week we'll start in on a new adventure, although I haven't decided which one to go with. Maybe, who knows, Three Little Pigs? I don't know.
Sleeping Beauty?
Yeah. Sleeping Bluty, we used to call it. So, but anyway, we're going to wrap that up in a little bit. So anyway, it's good to be back. Rick was out sailing about last week, so we weren't able. I was not, by the by.
Not sailing now.
Yeah.
I couldn't get him on a ship to save my life.
No, I like it.
Hey, Dad, come on.
I like it right here. Thank you very much. I was at the beach again today. I'm perfectly fine as long as I can see the waters out there. Well, I'm good. So, and that's why I like it here. So anyway, we've had some weird results this past weekend.
Crazy.
Including, by the by,
2 wins.
The Bears.
2 wins.
Well, I selected or guessed or
you said they get
predicted they would win 3 games.
Oh, 3. And then you went down to.
Well, I did waffle on 3.
Yeah.
But they're all the way up to 2 wins this year. So who knows? Maybe they could get 3 or 4.
Now that division is wide open.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the team to watch is probably, even though there's another one that's out, Dalvin Cook, their running back is, of course,
It's
is
going to
out.
be Minnesota.
Is Minnesota,
Yeah.
I think. It's a fairly weak division, it looks like, but they've got a real shot at winning it, and they're putting together a nice team out there. They still have plenty of running backs, including Jerick McKinnon,
yeah,
and some others, so they're going to be okay. But anyway, what other interesting was? Oh, yes. Denver lost. Yep. Oakland lost.
Yep.
Kansas City lost.
Yeah. Which they were.
Green Bay lost.
Kansas City was undefeated. They're now 5-1.
So Kansas City was the only undefeated team, and they lost. So, I mean, it's business as usual. And that's why you have to look. I've been preaching matchup for your fantasy teams. You have to really look closely. If you have 2 quarterbacks, say I've got a couple of teams I think where I have Mariota and Alex Smith, Kansas City and Tennessee, and you have to look at who they're playing and which matchup gives you the best chance to get as many fantasy points as possible at that position, and the same with all the other positions. Buys. That's the other thing.
Yes.
That I wanted to start off with. This is the last week, or let me say, this week is the only week that there's only 2 teams on bye, and that is Detroit and Houston.
All the cats are going.
Yeah.
Ape shit.
See, the cats like this. This is good information. The cats are taking this down. For the next 2 weeks, not this week, but the next 2 weeks, there are 6 teams on bye each week.
Okay.
Then the 2 weeks after that, there are 4 teams each week. So this week there's only the 2. The next 2 weeks after this is where it's going to get really hairy, and you're going to have to make sure that you have a full team every week, which may mean dropping somebody you don't necessarily want to drop, just so you won't have a 0 at a position.
We had a 0 this week.
That's right.
And oddly enough, the team that we were playing had a 0 this week.
Yeah, we lucked out.
How much did we win by today or this week, Dad?
We won. Our combined team that Rick and I co-manage won by 0.4.
0.4 points.
Yeah, not 4 points. 0.4.
I didn't even know that there was such a thing.
Well, what's happened is through the evolution of fantasy football over the last few years, they've cut down a little bit on the scoring, and each league can actually adjust their scoring, or how much you want to allocate to a touchdown or reception or things like that. So now we're suddenly into tenths and all kinds of things, which used to be it was pretty much whole numbers, but that's for a different time. So anyway, that's the bye thing. Just be aware of that and start looking around for what you can do the next couple of weeks. Your schedule is up at the top of up above your team. There's, different categories up there. Just click on the schedule. It'll show you what each player, what their schedule is for the rest of the season, including their bye week. So you'll know how many you have off in a specific week. So anyway, all right. So where are we at? What do we want to do now?
Let's do story time. Let's finish this up because I've got a lot of questions.
Questions?
Because I've been gone.
You've been floating about.
Well, so. And there was when you're on a ship and you're in the Caribbean or wherever you are, what you get as far as television. And I was trying to watch, like Monday night, I was going to try to watch the Bears game, and then I was going to try to watch the Cubs game. And I went into the sports bar on the ship, and what we had was the Hispanic feed, the Spanish feed, and none of that. So I missed everything, and then the internet also was not really working. So I missed everything for a whole week as far as sports and my fantasy football team. or our fantasy football team was concerned.
By the way, our fantasy football team started out the season 0-2.
Yep.
As did two of my other teams.
4 straight.
And right now, I've got 5 teams I started that all have winning records.
We've won 4 straight.
4 straight.
Our biggest is what, 7?
Last season we did 7.
We did 7 straight.
Yeah.
Right
And that was at the end of the season, which
it
really
bailed us out.
do.
It got us what, 3rd place.
All right, but story time. Just gather around, bring the kiddies in. Although I don't know if the kiddies will particularly like this. We've gotten Dorothy back home. There's no place like home. Da 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 da. The witch is dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead, and all this other stuff. Yeah, and they're all glad to see Dorothy. Well, that's fine. It's a wrap, as we say in the film business.
Oh, I thought you were actually going to rap.
No, I'm not going to rap. I could do some doo-wop for you. All right. They released that film in 1939.
Yeah.
It cost nearly $3 million, which in 1939 was unheard of.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the film was a huge success. No, not so much. It wasn't. They didn't even make any money.
0 money.
They took in $3 million. That was it in the theaters.
So they barely, because you promote it, so they barely even broke
for those
even.
days. So it was a big disappointment. It won Academy Awards. It was critically acclaimed. Nothing happened. Okay? Somebody had the bright idea of showing it on television in a couple of years, and suddenly it took off. And in the following years, suddenly it became a classic film that has made bazillions of dollars.
Tons.
Since then. And you're saying, yeah, that's all keen, Dad, but what's that got to do with fantasy? Well, we just told you. Sometimes, no matter how good a team you may have, or you think you have when you draft, or after you've made some changes, and suddenly you go out there and put your team out and they get beat. You said, well, how can this happen? Look at all the good players I've got. Somebody underperformed. Oh, you change them out.
Oh, I get where you're going.
Run them out another week. Well, that's what we had.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, things begin to click. Things begin to click. And that's where we're going right now with our team.
Yeah.
And several of my other teams are doing the same thing. So we'll see. I've got 3 hockey teams right now. The team that I thought was going to be real good is real bad. Once again, the team that I didn't know how they were going to do is doing really well.
So they thought that
and the other one's in the middle.
Wizard of Oz was going to do great. It did crappy, but then it kind of came back.
Yeah.
And now is an established thing.
Classic, yeah.
Classic.
So despite all these wonderful lessons, and it still comes down to perseverance and matchups. Okay? The matchup for The Wizard of Oz was television.
Oh, yeah. Which also was the Christmas movie.
Yeah.
The Jimmy Stewart Christmas film. What is that?
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Tanked.
Yeah.
Big tank. Now, they thought it was going to be huge. It got onto television. It became a Christmas classic.
Yeah.
Sort of like Christmas Story as well.
Yeah, I don't even remember Christmas Story being in the theater.
No, everybody rented the movie. Then they were like, "Oh, this movie's fantastic."
But all of a sudden, it got on a roll. So
there we go.
What can I tell you? All right, questions.
Okay, so here are my questions.
Before I do my quarterback analyses.
I got to let you know. The Carolina Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell do they keep doing what they do? They're I thought, okay, they're in the toilet. Nothing. There's nothing that they're going to be able to do. And let me go through my my numbers here that our producers have given to us. They're sitting on top of the NFC South right now.
Mm-hmm.
4-2.
Matchups.
How do they keep doing this?
Cam Newton. How's that?
But yet you think this guy is going to screw the pooch, period, and he goes through I'm mad and I don't want to play football for the Carolina Panthers, and then all of a sudden they lose like 2 or 3 games, and then he starts winning.
Yeah, but the thing to remember about him is no matter how much he complains and gripes, he's like Odell Beckham and some of these others. No matter how much they gripe and they grumble, they like the spotlight and they like to perform in the spotlight. Okay? No matter how much they claim they don't like the system, how unhappy they are, when they turn on the lights, it's much like an actor or something that doesn't get along with anybody. But as soon as the camera comes on, he's the nicest guy in the world, or she's the nicest girl in the world. Great acting, charisma. Everybody loves her that sees her on screen, but the truth of the matter is, not so much.
But they've done this consistently year
Well,
after
the secret
year.
is, and it's not a secret, is their head coach, who used to be a very good defensive player for the Chicago Bears, back when the Bears were a good defensive team. That's been a long time.
Been a long time.
They have a solid defense. They always have a solid defense. What was the score of their game? They lost. They actually lost this week to Philadelphia.
Yes. Who's 5-1?
Yeah.
Nobody would have thought that about Philadelphia.
But Cam Newton was the passing leader and the rushing leader in that game.
Yes.
And Kelvin Benjamin was the receiving leader.
Cam,
all Carolina people, and yet they lost the game.
Cam loves running that ball.
The other thing is they're in a weak division. And I know
who do they got? Who we got?
My Tampa Bay friends may disagree, but Tampa Bay's not looking like a juggernaut this year.
No. So they
keep in mind, you're saying, why are you talking
the Saints,
about
the
this?
Falcons, and the Bucks.
Winning teams, once again, one of the things that I discovered quickly once I started playing fantasy, period, across whatever format, hockey, baseball, whatever, is you're better off with players on winning teams in the long haul. I think particularly so with football, with pro football, because the season is only 17 weeks. So it's easy. You get behind a few games. There starts to be some inner turmoil, and it can go south really quick. Baseball, because of the long season, there's ups and downs, and hockey, ups and downs.
Because they got 161 games.
It's really hard to, once things start going downhill in football, whether it's injuries, whether it's people not getting along, or no matter what it is. You take a look at New England right now. Brady is still, playing well.
Yeah.
But
Gronkowski, look.
Their defense is horrible.
Yeah, but the thing is, you look at Gronkowski, and he might be out for like 2 or 3 weeks, and he comes back and scores like 2 touchdowns. And he's out for 2 weeks and comes back. Like they are. It's hard to pigeonhole the Patriots in any way, shape, or form.
Yep. All right. Next question.
The other thing, AP, Adrian Peterson.
Okay.
The Arizona Cardinals.
Running backs, in generally speaking, well, not generally, period, are very short-term, have a short shelf life in the National Football League. They take a tremendous pounding. They're usually somewhat smaller. They're vulnerable to being hit because they're carrying the ball, or they're receiving it and then running with it, or they're blocking for the quarterback. And so they get beat up constantly. So literally every week, back after back after back goes out. Now, Peterson, he was sitting, and I have no idea why he wasn't being used, but...
And people on Twitter were going nuts about why they would send him to New Orleans.
Suddenly, he shows up on a new team that has no running game and needs one badly.
Yeah.
Okay. He's basically not run the ball in 2 years. It's about what it comes down to. Between injuries and everything and suspensions and what have you. So he's fresh as a daisy. So this is where we got our zero this week is we had Andre Ellington, the running back for Arizona that had taken over for David Johnson when he got out for the season.
Right.
And everything I could find said Andre Ellington is going to be fine because he catches the ball, and Peterson does not particularly.
Which we had talked about, and Dad said, hey,
Yeah.
he doesn't catch the ball. That's not his thing.
I mean, we didn't consider picking up Peterson if he was available. I don't know if he was or not, but he didn't touch the ball. Andre Ellington, not once.
Zero.
No receptions, no throws to him, no handoffs to him, nothing. Zero. So we ended up with big zero. And Peterson, in the meantime, is fresh as a daisy.
Crushed.
He's a big game performer. He always has been.
And I think he wanted to prove to everyone that
he said
I'm okay.
2 years of not being hit, of keeping himself in really good shape.
Yeah.
He's always been in good shape.
Now, the next game or two, he might get hit really hard, and then all of a sudden he'd be like, oh, no, hold on.
Yeah, that could be, but that's what happened with him.
That was amazing to watch, to see what he did. Because he had, 130 yards, touchdown?
Something,
His numbers were insane.
Yeah, I mean, first time he touched the ball, he went how many yards?
He had been saying the entire time, just give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. And with a guy like that who's always talking, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, fine. Well, they did it.
Yeah.
He came through.
So people are picking him up off the waiver wire. They're all set. Now, how long will that last? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, if he lasted the season, I mean, that'd be fantastic.
We'll have to see.
I don't see it happening, but you never know.
So, all right, let's deal with the quarterback problem that we have. And we're particularly going to have a quarterback problem the next couple of weeks because with 6 teams on a bye, you're liable to have, even if you have a backup quarterback on your team, you're liable to come up against the fact that you have no quarterback to play in one of these 2 weeks. And there seems to be some problems with some of your better known quarterbacks. And I'm going to quote a few stats. Ben Roethlisberger this past week had.
You never say his name.
Yeah, well, whatever. Roethlisberger.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, whatever. Ben had 11.88 fantasy points on ESPN. That's very low. What you want out of your quarterback is somewhere between 15 and 20. Anything over 20 is great. He's had 4 straight weeks under 12 points a game. And you can pick anybody up off of waivers that are better than that. Derek Carr, Oakland's quarterback.
Who we were big on.
He's been one of my favorites for years. I've used him in fantasy. He's got a back injury. He came back last week, and Oakland was just totally out of sync, and they don't look good at all.
No,
and they've been out of sync all
There's something going on with that team.
Matt Ryan, quarterback for Atlanta, also another one of my favorites.
Another one.
He had 11.92. He's had 4 bad weeks in a row.
He'll have like 2 or 4 bad games, and then this guy will go nuts.
Drew Brees for the Saints, 11.54.
Yeah.
And the Saints are struggling badly on offense. You got Ben, you got Carr, you got Ryan, you got Brees. Those are 4 of your top quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They're just being horrible. So you say, well, what do you do? Well, I took a look at the waiver wires. This is off ESPN. The top one you might want to pick up, and I mentioned him a few weeks ago, is Deshaun Watson, the quarterback for Texas. Now it's unlikely he's still available in your league, but if he is, I would grab him in a heartbeat. But there are some more viable options and ones that you can get a hold of. For instance, quarterback for Washington Redskins, Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
He's had 3 straight weeks of 20 or more points. Now remember, these other guys we were talking about were what, 11 point something.
11 points, yeah.
Kirk Cousins over 20 points 3 weeks in a row. All right.
Again, he might not be winning, but he's getting 20
But
points.
he's a good, solid quarterback, and they have a decent team. Carson Palmer at Arizona.
Yep.
Now he's coming off a real good week, and they're playing Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week.
Well, I saw.
That's a matchup made in heaven.
I don't know. I saw this picture that somebody put together, and it was Carson Palmer, Adrian Pearson, and one of their wide receivers, and they all had walkers.
Yeah.
And they were going out to the field, and like the Arizona Cardinals have like the oldest guys that you could imagine on their team, and the old guys are crushing.
Well, Carson Palmer is just about my age, I think. Nobody knows for sure.
45?
Yeah, 46, something like that. But yeah, he's in his late 30s. But if you look it up, and he should be available. Kirk Cousins is available. I'm a big Alex Smith fan, Kansas City quarterback. It's possible. I've actually got him on just about every team I am.
What do you think about Josh McCown?
I'm coming to him.
Okay.
I've got a big finish with Josh McCown. So you're right on.
I'm watching.
Yeah, you're learning.
I'm paying attention.
That's good. Alex Smith, Kansas City quarterback. They have a good matchup at Oakland on Thursday night, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Another one, believe it or not, after a tough start and a tough schedule, is Andy Dalton, Cincinnati quarterback.
Yeah.
I've used him before. I started using him in the second half of last year, when I needed him. He should be available. He's another good one.
He's another one that's like iffy as hell.
Yeah, well, but you're talking about top-notch quarterbacks over here that aren't even getting to 12.
No, you're right.
All right.
You're right.
Tyrod Taylor, the Bills quarterback.
Yeah. Okay. Bills having a hell of a season.
He had almost 40. He had 39.8 fantasy points this past week. Okay? How about that? Now, Josh McCown, the Jets quarterback. Funny you should mention him. Or maybe not funny. Means you're paying attention. He passed this past week for 354 yards. Josh McCown is my age also, by the by. Last week against the Patriots, he had 20.3 points. Guess who he plays this week? The Miami Dolphins.
Jay Cutler!
Yeah, the Dolphins aren't very good.
No.
This would be another excellent pickup.
They did win, though, didn't they?
They did.
They scored a touchdown.
And Cutler looked halfway decent. And I say halfway.
Finally, halfway is.
Josh McGowan, as of today, is only owned in 10.3% of ESPN's leagues.
Pick him up.
So he's available. Okay? Remember, just because you pick somebody up, use him this week, you look at next week, and maybe it's got a tough matchup. Maybe it's against the Houston defense. Or
maybe he's not right for you.
You put him on the bench.
Yeah.
Or you get somebody else. But these guys all should be available, with the exception of Deshaun Watson. I would venture to say that Kirk Cousins, Carson Palmer, Alex Smith, Andy Dalton, Tyrod Taylor, Josh McCown are all available. I've got a couple others since we're on it. Tight ends this week. Take a look at picking up Austin Seferian-Jenkins, who surprisingly goes very nicely with Josh McCown because he's the tight end for the Jets. And he's had a couple of terrific weeks receiving. Austin Seferian-Jenkins used to be down here with the Buccaneers. Cameron Brate, the tight end
Oh,
for the Buccaneers, is another good pickup. And then there's a guy on the 40.
You've been talking about him all season.
Yes, I have him on teams.
Promoting him.
There's a little known guy who's had 2 very good weeks, and he's, believe it or not, with San Francisco 49ers. His name is George Kittle with a K. Okay?
Hey.
Couple of
Wait, aren't they 0-6?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You don't care if they win or lose.
But he's doing good things.
As long as you're looking at individuals.
I'm just playing
running backs, Jarek McKinnon with the Vikings, I would pick him up. I did in a couple of leagues already.
What about Adam Thielen?
If I used a guy last week, this guy's name is worth picking up for his name. His name is Orleans Darkwa, Darkwa. He's the running back for the Giants, and then Melvin Ingram for New Orleans Saints. It would be an excellent pickup for you. So I don't know.
Orleans Darkwa sounds like a party that's happening.
Well, I'm saying.
Where are you going? I'm going to the Orleans Darkwa party.
I would pick him up just for the name. I would. You know.
We think it's cool.
Yeah. So anyway, we've enjoyed it.
Thanks so much for checking us out. Week 7, Rick on the Rocks and Dad Fantasy Football Extravaganza. We will be back next week at 7 o'clock, Wednesday, Eastern Standard Time. Please leave messages. Let us know. Ask us questions. We'd love to hear from you. We're averaging about 600 people per video, and we love it. We've only gotten like one really bad comment, and it was a big thumbs down. And it wasn't like a regular thumbs down. It wasn't like the small like thumbs down that you get from like an emoji. It was like somebody like came and like did like a like it was horrible.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah,
Move on.
No, we like it.
Move on. Nothing to see here.
We like it. But thank you so much for checking us out and hanging out with us. We will be back.
Oh, we're coming up. We have some movie reviews coming up too.
Yes, we're going to be doing some different movie reviews.
Not instead of, but in addition to. This will be a separate program.
Dad won't tell me about Blade Runner. He's still like.
I have seen Blade Runner.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Baby Driver, the DVD.
Baby Driver's out on DVD. Atomic Blonde is coming out on DVD.
Blonde is coming out.
There's some other real good movies coming up shortly. Some Star Wars, some Han Solos, some just all kinds of good stuff.
Tons of stuff. So thank you so much. Take care of yourself.
Bye.
Be good.